Hey, welcome to the cast here today. Just wanted to check in briefly with you guys and talk about the 5 sources of anxiety. 4 sources of anxiety. What are the 5? 4? I don't know. There might be a little bit of some kind of controversy. Well, they're 5 or 4. Who cares? You know what? I'm gonna go with 5. There's like these existential things, I think, that cause the most anxiety in people. And I just wanted to kind of briefly discuss those. We could get into them later in later casts. But this one, I just wanted to kind of go over establish what they were, why they could cause anxieties and things like that. So the first one is power. Power. So how can this cause anxiety? Well, we have a lack of control in our lives, right? We have a lack of power in our lives. So I actually went briefly over here to CNN. Nobody disobeys my orders, Trump says. So this would be something about power, right? Because it's saying I have the control. I feel better when I do have control. So some people feel that they do have control, right, in their lives. And some people feel they don't have control. I don't know what I just said, but you see the different ends of the spectrum. If you don't feel like you have control, you're going to have anxiety about that. If you do feel like you have control, well, you might have less anxiety. Or if you see that control is just this illusion, you might feel better as well. But definitely it's the source of some anxiety. Definitely power plays a role in how we feel. So the next one is, let's see, where do I want to go from here? So we got power, then we got belonging, right? We want to be able to belong. Let's see if I can actually write this. Belonging. So belonging can create some anxieties in that we need to be a part of something. We as humans are social creatures, and we want to, fit in somewhere within, in the world. So being able to belong is really important. When we feel like we're isolated, when we're by ourselves, no one understands us, things like depression hit, things like anxiety hit, we just feel like we don't fit in anywhere. Let's see. Anything strike me as belonging here? A lot of this is about power and control. Yes, some were in control of the drug. So where do the royal couple fit in, right? I guess that would be one thing to think about in terms of belonging. Well, I belong to this royal family. And then when Meghan Markle, I think is her name, married this dude, Harry, she's like, well, I belong with this powerful family. So it's about power too, but it's also about belonging. It's about being part of something bigger than yourself. And it seems like she distanced herself from her own family. Maybe, I don't know. It's just what it seems like to me. But definitely that's a big part of being part of that royal family is belonging, having a sense of being connected to something. So that's another source of anxiety. Another one definitely plays into like what a lot of people experience anxiety about is freedom. This would be the founding fathers of America and everybody else who's been forced into slavery and things like this, We need to be free as people, or we feel anxiety about it, Let's see if I could see any headlines that strike towards freedom. Right here. Stephen Moore called it a travesty that women feel free to play sports with men. So it's like having this freedom to do as you wish, and some people feel anxiety when they're like, maybe the women would feel anxiety if they don't feel free to play men's sports, whatever the case may be. I'm not judging them either way, but we need to be able to see that we're free enough to deal with life the way we need to deal with life, or else it can be a source of anxiety. So definitely freedom is that third source of anxiety, that overarching source of anxiety. Now, the next one, so we got power, belonging, freedom. The next one is pretty big. It's meaning. This would be something you can look up in Man's Search for Meaning, you know, Viktor Frankl. But it's something we need in life. Like, what gives us meaning? Let's go back to the CNN page. I'm just using this as an example. So what would give us meaning? You know, fifth grader from D.C. killed in Sri Lanka attacks. It give someone meaning who was their parents to maybe come up with a foundation to do something in this kid's name. I'm not trying to put anything on this, but I'm saying we create meaning out of difficult circumstances and not difficult circumstances too. People get meaning out of what they do for a job. So Donald Trump, you know, the royals here, their job is to be royal, whatever the case may be. Oprah Winfrey, what is the meaning in her life? Is to help people? I don't know. Whatever the case may be. But she's definitely found meaning in her life, you know. So that can definitely be a source of anxiety, this meaning that we see for ourselves. Some people just need a little bit, some people need a whole bunch of meaning, you know. It's different for each person. It can be a source of anxiety. The last one's a pretty big one. Existential thing. I'm just going to draw it out here. It starts with a DEA and then ends with a TH. It's death. It's something everybody is going to experience someday as part of a living human, right? It's what's going to happen to us, and you can see it all over these headlines. It's something that sells, is that fear of death. It creates a lot of anxiety, and what does anxiety do? It's ultimately motivating, I guess, to not experience it. But if we run from it, we'll definitely experience undue anxieties, you know? Look at this. Philippines rocked by deadly earthquake. I could die if there's an earthquake. Higher risk, skipping breakfast tied to higher risk of heart-related death, study finds. I could die. Severe storms. I'm scared. You know, all these strike at that overarching thing of death, you know. You could die. You could die in a terrorist attack someday. And what does that all lead to? Anxiety over death. You know, it's something that we have to, it is healthier to talk about than to not talk about, is death, right? That's a big one. So, just wanted to kind of establish those as, you know, sources of anxiety, things we got to acknowledge in our lives, that when we don't have something, or when we do have something, we have it in inappropriate ways, we're going to feel anxiety. Now it's what we do with it that's going to matter. So in the next cast, I'm going to maybe, you're going to cast down the road. I won't say the next one, but when I do another video cast, I'm going to talk about some of these things, okay?